This is the food hygiene rating in the UK. Lots of countries, you've seen it everywhere. I'm getting a sandwich one lunchtime. I suddenly realised that I could do something similar for compliance. So what I did was I did scores on the doors. We rated our teams, our divisions, functions on their compliance performance using scores on the doors. But where it really benefited, really made a difference, much to my surprise, I have to say, was for third parties and vendors. We've got a session later, I think, today about third parties and vendors, but my experience was once they got over the gate, once they got the contract, their interest in compliance died, diminished. You had to be really good at keeping at them. So, a covenant. A covenant is an agreement or promise that people will do something or not do something. Now, what I found, so in the UK, this is what we have. We have an armed forces covenant. Our soldiers, our sailors, airmen, airwomen defend the country. This is how we treat them. This is how we say we will treat them, give them respect. So it stuck in my mind that we could do a compliance covenant. We could say, we need you to do this. But in return, this is how we will treat what you're doing. You try and get people to do their training for a variety of reasons. But what I decided to do, I was going to create some compelling compliance stories which reinforce the message that bad things happen to good people. I.e., things go wrong in your company, your point earlier about when things go wrong, and bring it home that this is not your problem, it's my problem, it's not somebody else's problem. So, how effective is your whistleblowing? 42% of fraud alerts come from whistleblowers. That's an American stat, but it's good enough for Europe that I use it all the time. But people don't blow the whistle for a number of reasons, but one of those is fear of the unknown. It's a major step for them. Who will know, who will find out, what will happen to me, and so on. So I did a lot. How many of you have ever tested your own whistleblowing hotline? Hands up. Okay, there's a few. I made 7 test calls one morning to our hotline. I only ever heard back, including one in French. The French experience was dire, and I only ever heard back from 2 of those test calls. 2. So there was informal triage going on. What that means is that when you start to talk to whistleblowers about what's happened to them and so on, they suddenly realise you're working from a position of knowledge. And what my experience has always been, when you start talking to people from a position of knowledge, they start then revealing 4 or 5 other retaliation events that perhaps through data you can't necessarily get to. They don't invite me to team meetings anymore. I'm not allowed to speak to my manager's manager anymore. All those sort of things. So, small changes can make big differences. That sign, "Take your litter home," has been everywhere in the UK ever since I was a child. But the bit on the bottom wasn't. Other people do. That other people do costs next to nothing, increase compliance by about 65%. 65%. So things like doing compliance training, other people do, your colleagues have, and so on. Just adding words like that can make a huge difference to your performance. I hope that's been useful.